Welcome to our 5 on 5. Please welcome back Senator Jeff Merkley. Senator, good to see you.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
Thanks for being here. So we're dealing with another fire season damaging our health as well as our economy. Currently, there is legislation in the 2018 Farm Bill that includes Title VIII, providing more forest management. Are you in support of that legislation?
Well, I'm very much in support of the forest management reforms we made in March. That included a categorical exclusion for reducing hazardous fuels in the woods. The whole idea is we have to thin the woods so they're much more fire resilient. Our second growth stands are a disaster waiting to happen, as we have seen now year after year.
Is there something more immediate? You know, a lot of when we talk about bills in Congress or in Salem, these things take time. Is there something that can be done politically to speed up these processes?
Oh, absolutely. Like already we have 1 million, or actually 1.6 million acres in Oregon that have been approved for thinning, and all we lack is the funds to invest. And so over on the Senate side, we're pleading with the House side to say, make this a priority. Look, the whole West is burning. Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, down into California. Like, we need to have the funds to thin these forests. And we should be implementing the program in which we essentially have a FEMA-type backup for fighting fires, like we do for fighting tornadoes or addressing hurricanes or earthquakes. We have fought for that in the Senate. It is now going to come into effect in 2020, but we'd like it to come into effect right now.
How do you get people from the East Coast or central part of the country to understand what's going on and what this air quality is really like here at home?
Oh, and this is a great point, because the number of states that are suffering from this is small enough that a lot of the Senate and a lot of the House don't really understand it, which means that we convened in the Senate a whole series of emergency meetings. We met directly with the group of folks from Colorado at West and then put together a plan last March that led to the provisions for forest management that we passed in March as part of the omnibus. You really have to lobby your colleagues very intensely. It's very helpful to have our friends from Idaho and Montana, so you have a bipartisan coalition in place making this happen.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll have much more in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Senator Jeff Merkley. Senator, you told the New York Times and CNN earlier this summer that you're exploring the possibility of a 2020 presidential run. How has that position evolved, or has it, in the last couple months?
No, it hasn't evolved at all. I think exploring is the right word. I do believe that a little bit of Western common sense is needed for the nation right now to put things back on track. But I'm taking a look at it, and after the November elections, we'll have more to say.
Despite a court mandating family reunification, you've said the Trump administration's chaotic and poorly tracked separations have left hundreds of families torn apart. You've gone to Texas to see firsthand how it's being handled. How do you see this whole thing playing out?
Well, we still have 700 children, or roughly that number. That number is probably about 10 days old now, that haven't been reunited with their families. But we also have a bill that some of my colleagues in the Senate are planning to put forward to create internment camps. And I am going to be fighting that intensely. Children shouldn't be separated from their parents, and they absolutely shouldn't be thrown into prison camps either. What we should be using is the Family Case Management Program, which the Inspector General for Homeland Security reported had a 100% success rate in getting families up to their asylum hearings to show up. 100% is pretty good, and here's the thing. It's a lot cheaper. Not only is it decent and dignified and the appropriate way to treat people fleeing persecution, but it has a very, very, well, according to that report, 100% success rate.
5 terms in the Oregon House, now 2 in the U.S. Senate. How does today's political arena compare to years past?
We just have such a growing lack of common sense cooperation. We have the media world is more divided. The information people get through social media is more divided, and we have rules of the Senate that are being utilized in ways, and the House that are being utilized in ways they weren't in the past. This makes it very much harder to pass basic legislation that addresses the problems that we need to address in America. So it's of deep concern. We need a lot less polarization and a lot more partnering.
Speaking with that, you've been working with Republican State Representative Mike McLean on a project sending wheat to war-torn Yemen with the Food for Peace program. How'd that come about?
Well, this is something that I was very familiar with from a background that I had years ago. And then I decided that nobody from the Senate had gone over to look at the famines that were developing in Yemen, in northern Nigeria, in South Sudan, and in Somalia. I wasn't able to visit 4 countries, but I was able to visit 2. And I was able to see the dramatic impact that American aid has in fending off starvation. It's also good for our economy, because when you buy the wheat farmed here in Oregon, well, that's great for our wheat farmers, and it's great for Northwest wheat farmers in general. So it's a win-win program, and it's something that just touches the lives of millions, allows them to gain stability while hopefully their economies recover.
Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Great to see you.
All right.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.